Well, I think we should just jump in. It's
Okay.
funny, like, where do I point? Like, I'm seeing our thing on the screen. Armin, Kent, thank you so much for doing this. Like, honestly, I'm so happy you're here. I so appreciate you taking the time and supporting this VSC project and just getting information and education and just awesome, cool stories and content for young up and coming skydivers and obviously just the community at large. But I just really excited about this whole thing and I appreciate your support. So yay.
It's my pleasure. I love, anytime we open the subject, it's always fun for me too.
Yeah, cool. So I just wrote down a few questions. I want to keep these short. We can always do more.
Okay.
But so that they're more consumable, like not super, super long. But at the same time, cover some good stuff that hopefully will help you.
Good luck with me, because I like long answers.
That's okay. That's okay. So let's just jump in if that's okay.
Yeah.
All right. So just to give a little bit of, I really should start preparing intros for people that join me. But for any of you who don't know, Norman has been in the sport forever. I'm going to ask him the details, but he's a really, really well-known and successful and accomplished freefall photographer. So I wanted to ask you first about that and like, what's kept you in love with freefall photography for so long?
Well, I think that it's kind of an answer that needs to be split into two, because my first passion always has been photography and
cool.
cinematography. That's what I encountered first and what I fell in love with first. And then skydiving, my skydiving story is very similar to others, which is I was going to do it only once and then I got hooked. And so then I naturally merged the two because I couldn't wait to shoot. All of my photography is based on sharing what I see and sharing what I feel and sharing the love and beauty that I see. So skydiving, when I fell in love with it, it was just a natural, wow, I want to share this with the world. And I really want to capture it and try to share it and the passion and the feeling as much as possible. It was also a real passionate thing because it's clearly something you cannot share other than through photography, or talking about it,
Right.
Most of skydiving happens away from the line of sight, let's say,
Absolutely.
And so that was really one of those things which even had me more like into it. And then I think one of the other things that had me, that keeps me, because I think that's part of your question, is what has kept me, not how it started only, but what has kept me with the same passion and the same drive. And I think the only answer I have for that is that I think it's very similar to what we were talking about in my other project and stuff, and my analogy, which is that it is so unique. Each time is so unique and so set of brand new set of circumstances that are in each skydive. From nature, what nature has to offer photographically, to the dynamics of the jump, the dynamic of the jumpers, whether it's a record, whether it's a small jump, whatever it is, each one is so unique that it keeps it very much like the first time. It's like it's never over and over the same thing. And that, I think, is one of the answers, or the thing that drives me the most.
I completely echo that. Not even from a free fall photography perspective. Yeah, I jump a camera, but like I'm one of those people who whacks a GoPro on their head. And I did shoot video for one team back in the day, but like for the most part, I don't consider myself a free fall photographer or videographer really at all. But yeah, like even in disciplines and like choosing what to learn and choosing what to just try, and what is obviously available to us in the sport is that is so part of the fun. I feel like is that even the best laid plan, it's so rare, like almost never do you come down from a skydive and it's gone totally according to plan. So it's just sort of a little bit of a nuance of like, every skydive is different with the person or the weather conditions and like where you are, what, just your mood that day, the people that, there's so many different variables that are both outside the actual act of skydiving, inside the discipline, how the plan goes, how the plan doesn't go. Like there's so much fun that happens when the plan doesn't go, whatever, when you're like sort of in the moment, really reacting to what's occurring. So I just think it's got to be so interesting from the photography perspective, given Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually it's funny you should say that, because that is precisely one of the elements. It is that even as well as you plan something, there's always so many unexpected things. And one of the things that I've been addicted to is sort of learning to kind of anticipate the future, kind of like read
Yeah.
the future. And the way I look at it is you have to read the future and meet it in the present, rather
Yeah.
than looking at it and then reacting to what you see and then engaging. You really have to kind of go like, where are things going to happen? And then allow yourself to, for no reason at all, no logic, just kind of just go. And all of a sudden you go, oh, I'm here in the right place at the right time. And you don't even know why or how you got there or what drove you there. You kind of sort of unconscious, you know. And many times I come down and people ask me, well, what did we do this when? We're like, I have no idea. I was so subconscious and unconscious pretty much that you know, until I look at my stuff, I don't know. And the other thing that's interesting, because I've been dealing with this a lot, not only through my career, but embracing it recently, is that
I plan on asking about that, by the way. So
okay.
we can actually, I don't mind if you talk about that now, but I was going to ask about your upcoming project and like what that's about and stuff. So if you want,
I had something else to complete that other thought first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Which is that the other thing that's very interesting, and I've been dealing with it my whole career, is that I used to actually hate my work. And
in skydiving?
Yes, my results.
Oh, okay.
Not my job, but my results.
Got it.
And what that was all about, it was that I had this ability to visualize ahead of time what I was going to get. Then I was missing a lot. I was missing a lot. And it wasn't until later that I matured. In fact, it was funny because I had employees and they would look at the stuff and go, this is amazing. And I'd go like, this is trash. And I'd cut the film in half, you know, actually I'd throw it away. And they'd go pick it up from the trash. I noticed they were picking it up from the trash. I started cutting it, you know, and destroying it. And they would like, this is crap. I don't want anybody to see it. And it wasn't until one time that I just kind of said, this is crap. And I threw it off to the side. And then like a month later, I came back and said, what's this? You know, and I looked at it and went like, this is some cool stuff. You know, and it was like, here's my own stuff. And then I realized that, and this is what the kind of the philosophy I have now, which is the plan is only a vehicle to get you to where we're going to go and find out what is going to present itself.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's not just what you're going to get, but it's simply a vehicle to see what lies beyond.
It's so insightful.
Strictly the plan is that's for me. Yeah.
I must say and respond to that in the sense that is so beautiful, and I would say applies absolutely to life in general. Yeah, for sure applies to skydiving. Like if we can embrace skydiving, because it's funny, in coaching and stuff, it's like, how do we know? I just want to quickly speak to this. Just I'm sure, I don't know how these interviews are, this is the second one I've ever done, but like I'm trying, you know, sort of relating my experience too, just to add some extra value. But like in experience, like I coach a lot of new jumpers, you know, I've organized a lot. So it's like, how do I anticipate? Like I know certain typical things when people come out of the airplane. I know what certain mistakes typically happen, stuff like that. As such, I can be sort of in the right place in the right time to change that outcome for those people such that we have a different result on the skydive. And usually it ends up being more success and like a little bit better exit or whatever, you know, because of that type of sort of awareness. Like, you know, what light's going to look better, you know, like sort of, and sort of you can intuitively plan that, even though it still opens that, you know, but anyway, carrying forward that approach of really still being open to whatever happens, that is like, that's what we're after, is that unexpected outcome, which is so cool. So cool. It releases people from the fear of performance and frustration of not getting it right and stuff like that, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to ask about your long-term participation in freefall photography is that, have you ever had a time when you didn't love it, when you were like, when you were burned out or whatever, did you ever take a break? Like, did you ever just not dig it? So you know what I mean? Like, is there any phase that you felt you had around that?
I don't think so. I think that I've gone through phases, but that I continue to go through those, but I work through them. And there are more phases where I kind of don't like the how can I describe it without insulting anybody? I kind of don't like the structure of how things are for my photography. And what I mean by that is that, you know, I see something, or like an example would be in a boogie, you know, where I'm like going, I'm here to jump with you. I'm here to be for you. I don't charge. I'm here just as a participant. I'm not charging, at least I'm not charging the jumpers. And it's like, and I want to shoot the cool stuff so I can share it with the world. Again, the same feeling of sharing with the world.
Love it.
And then I see people doing cool stuff, and I'm like, what do I have to do to have you say, hey, I'm going to do this cool thing. Can you please come over and my jump? What do I have to do? Instead, I'm just looking for jumps, and sometimes I'm missing a good one and waiting for a good one and missing another one. And there's no structure, and I get really frustrated because I'm going like, I want to get the opportunities to this cool stuff. And people are like, you know, whatever. And it's and so to me, it's kind of like I wish there was a system for it. And I've tried even putting posts. Hey, let me know if you're doing something cool, a raft dive, you know, anything. To me, all of it's cool. But you know, if you're doing something unusual, fun, inflatables or hybrids or something, and then I see people just like not caring. And so that to me, that's one of the times when I go like, do I even belong in the sport? You know, like, do I even fit here?
I wonder.
Do I smell? What's wrong with me?
I would wonder a couple of things about that. I would wonder if, one, people might be intimidated to come up to you because of your notoriety, because they know who you are. It just like, I would guess maybe some young jumpers like, oh my God, that's Herman Kent. Like, I don't know if that's happening. Maybe it's not. Maybe they're just like, whatever. And maybe people aren't really appreciating, or they haven't really had the experience of having an amazing shot of something that they're doing, and maybe they just aren't really aware that that's available to them. Or maybe it is just general skydiving disorganization, you know, of like.
Yeah, and also I think that when that happens to me, I simply go, okay, just like I have to put up with weather and situations that make it so hard to get a minute worth of work in the air. That's just one of more of the elements, and that just brings it to be a challenge. I have a really funny story. One time I was in a boogie, and I'm going like, I'm just going to go to the plane and just go with my stuff and just go. It was like at the end of the day, and I'm going like, okay, what are you guys doing? And everybody's looking at me like, oh no, not me.
Oh my God! You showed up on the plane, I'd be like, oh my God, go with us.
Exactly. And there was this group, a small group, and they're like, can I go with you and this and that? You know, they kind of go, oh, yeah. Well, no, you know, whatever. We don't have space. Like, what do you mean we don't have space? We're already in the airplane. You know, and it's like, and then all of a sudden, like I'm trying to find out. I see what they're kind of dirt diving on the way up, and then I see that these other people had like a train exit out. It's out of a tailgate. And I'm going like, oh, that looks like a cool thing. I'll just do that, you know, like the exit. And so I changed my mind. I went like, okay, instead I'm going with you guys. And and there was this, and the other guy's like, yes, like he's not going with us. I'm going, what the fuck, you know? Excuse my language. I'm not sure how rated this is. So then I come down and I got a cool picture. It was a disaster. The free fall. One guy just tracked away. It was just kind of like the exit. But the exit, even though it was not very good, I got a cool picture of them not doing a great exit. And then I said, oh, okay. And I just went through my routine of submitting to the magazines, all the stuff. And I said, I'll submit that too, you know, because it's a cool picture.
Yep.
And then I get it back from the magazine, and they go like, oh, we want to use that as a, you know, like I can't remember which part of the magazine it was. It was kind of like one of those like end of the magazine, and what it would like, I can't remember what the part of it was. But anyway, it was a main photo, big. And they're going like, we want that one. And I'm going like, how does this happen? Like, they don't even want me on the freaking load. Do they even deserve to be published like that? So I actually shared about that. I shared the story and went like, okay, this is how this happened. And here it is. And this is the result of it. And people were really cracking up. And it was actually turned out to be a great share, you know, but it was those kind of things that were, you go like, what the hell is it that I'm scaring people, you know?
Well, I hope that in some way this interview can help people understand that saying yes, obviously if they don't know who you are, you know, that could also be going on too. Like we're a very safety conscious sport, which I think is an awesome thing. Some random guy, you know, they're like, oh, who's this dude with giant shit on his head? You know what I mean? Like maybe that scares some people too. But yeah, hopefully this conversation is sort of opening people's minds that.
Yes. And I also do, I think I do a good effort at really trying to come across as a regular person, you know, when I meet people, and not
I
like
always
not
encourage
be
people.
stuck up about it. So it's like, you know, I try to do that because it's really, we're all the same. It's just, you know, some of us have certain talents and some of us have others, and that's all. And I'd like to be considered as that, just a regular friend jumper, you know, that's all.
Yeah. Well, and it's tough, I think, when you're hired at an event and you're headlined or whatever, that it might carry with it an automatic intimidation. Yeah. And I definitely, for sure, really make an effort to walk around, meet people. I love doing that regardless. Yeah. So obviously that's me, but like, I really, really, without pressure, try to encourage people like, yeah, like really, truly, if you want to go for a jump, just come let me know. Like, not that I'm not going to go and ask people to go skydiving with me. Obviously I'm doing that too, but I really try to make it really clear and obvious that, hey, if you're having fun doing something else, totally cool. Like it's all good. Like we don't have to jump together, but like really, if you want to, I would love to, genuinely. Yeah. And I genuinely, obviously mean it. So anyway, that might be something that I mean, do you do that? Do you walk around and say stuff like that to people, by the way?
Yeah, I do. And a lot of times I'm just, you know, trying to just do normal conversation, because what feels awkward is to go and introduce myself. You know, a lot of times, you know, it's like the name doesn't matter. So I just engage in conversation, and it's not until later that people go, hey, you know, that's Norman Kent or something, or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't really matter. And,
right. No.
So I don't start with that, but it's really more like talking to them and trying to see what they're doing, and trying to go on their jump or invite them on mine, but yeah, there's a mix of people. There's a lot of people who don't know me, a lot of people do, and we're all the same.
Yeah, there's plenty of people. Totally, there's plenty of people who don't know who the hell I am too. That's great, but it's and it's not that, again, like that's not even a thing. I mean, truly, like that's not even a thing. But like, meaning, it's funny because I think about it like in terms of what you're offering. You know, like. Anyway, that's probably a whole different conversation of like, talking about how to do that. But let's get changed.
For me, it's all about. I mean, I want to show you how beautiful you look. You don't even. You know, it's like,
exactly.
It's beyond the skydiving. It's just the man, you're doing some cool stuff here. You're skydiving. You know, it's like, this is awesome.
Exactly.
And I, you know, and I love doing that with people. I love even like on records and stuff. You know, I love it when people come down and go, "What jump were you on? This doesn't even look like our jump," because I'm thinking more of how we fit into the environment. You know, like in our playground, and they're thinking about their grip and their, you know, their focus on that. And my job is to see how beautiful you look, concentrating that way, but how we fit in our environment and how that fits. My goal is to make photographs and images and video for the person inside the skydiver.
Same.
Not the skydiver. That's me, but for the person inside the skydiver, so they can relate to it even if they're not in the jump.
I love that.
Or a non-skydiver can relate to it too and go, wow, that's beautiful.
It's awesome. It's beautiful. I mean, yeah, I could just go on and on and on about how much I love it. Like it's a true, genuine joy. Like, just because I've recently been reflecting on my organizing and what I like to do in skydiving, and I really love that I can help people have an experience, whereas you capture the experience and the person, it's like, so it's just wonderful. Like, I guess I'm just relating, like, that's your gift, as it were. And it's like, I just love helping people have an experience that's joyful, whether it's skydiving or on the ground or whatever. Anyway, so I digress. I'm going to change gears so that we don't go forever.
I told you, I warned you.
Which I'm totally cool.
I need to do more than one of these.
We can do more. So quickly, I'm gonna also ask you about tips for young skydivers, but first I want you to tell me like how many years you've been skydiving, how many skydives do you have, and tell us about the upcoming project that you have going of 60 cycles, because I want to hear what that is and why you're doing it. Just give us the spiel on that, because it's cool and awesome, and I'd love to share that with the world a bit more. Okay.
Well, I've been skydiving for 41 years and have over 26,000 jumps, although I don't have an exact count. And it's funny because I still sign with my C license.
Cool.
And I do that because at one point I realized that it really doesn't matter. I was surrounded by a lot of people that were all about credentials and licenses and numbers of jumps and stuff. And I was like, does that really matter? Or does it matter more what you do in, you know, the quality of what you're doing and what you contribute and all that, instead of being measured by that number? And so I kind of go like I did 50 on this boogie and 20 here and, you know, 10 this weekend and whatever. And you just kind of block them out. And then you go, oh, that was another 400, you know, and then you just add that up instead of going, that was 377 or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I kind of go in blocks of 25 or blocks of whatever. So
yeah, that's normal.
And it doesn't matter if people believe it or not. It's just,
right.
I've been doing it for 41 years. And when you think about it, 26,000 jumps is not that many in 41 years, you know.
Oh
it's just a long time. I started when I was 19.
Awesome.
And I just turned 60. Yeah. And that brings me to the second part of your question, which is, what is 60 Cycles all about? 60 Cycles is a project I created that in which I want to embrace life, embrace the cycles of life. That's why I call it 60 Cycles. And also there's a correlation between life and how it has a beginning and an end, and it all comes in cycles, and we should really be in harmony with that. All of those things and how unique the life is. And the same thing with jumps, with skydives. They tend to come in about 60 seconds worth of working time, and they have a beginning and an end. And when we let go in the door, it's like a different lifetime with its own set of circumstances and its own unique, you know, everything, circumstances. And it is beautiful, and each one in its own. And it's like fingerprints. They're all unique. There's no two alike. So that is one of the things that I wanted to embrace and celebrate. And so I thought, you know, how can I do this, and how can I celebrate my 60th birthday? I don't want to just do a big party or something. It just didn't seem like it. You know, what I'm about, what am I about, and what have I been devoting my life to? And I started thinking about the 60 jumps, and it didn't call me as much of like, okay, 60 jumps, so who cares?
Right.
And then because what I intend to do, I guess I should declare it, is 60 jumps in one day in celebration of this concept. And that called it Project 60 Cycles. And that is on November 12th in Oceanside, California. And I hope everybody can come. So,
please come. Whoever's watching this, come.
Come celebrate.
Yes.
And regressing to the rest of that concept is that I realized then that, as I mentioned earlier in this interview, that who I really am is a photographer. You know, I'm a passionate photographer, and I just happen to be passionate about skydiving too. And so I thought, what I really need to do is do those jumps, but with my full camera helmet and doing 60 different portraits of 60 different unique groups of people. Some of them, sometimes a one-on-one, sometimes a group. Yep. And that's the challenge. And the thing that's really what calls me, because then I can have a product that encompasses that whole concept of 60 cycles in the form of a book, in the form of a mini documentary or something. And that is what I'm up to. And the thing is a bit complicated, because there's the logistics of the jumps and jumping with other people and the altitude, extra altitude, instead of just jumping a hop and pop at 2,000 feet and all of that, and who's next, and what am I shooting, and what lens, and what's camera, and what settings, and all that stuff. And there's all that. And then there's also the, you know, running the behind the scenes, and who's going to run my cameras. And one of the things I should share, which is like, now I'm going,
do it. This is good. I mean, honestly, one thing before you say it, if anyone's inspired to contribute or share or wants to get involved, like, we'll put some information. I'll put it, you know, in the video below.
Please
so
come.
That you can
we
email
need some help
or get involved. But yeah, go ahead, keep going.
Yeah. And so one of the things that's really, in fact, I was just dealing with this yesterday. I was in a counseling session, and just because I regularly do that, and
that's good.
I was looking at it going,
life coach is great.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and I was going like, okay, what is it that's got this so intimidating in a way, and uncomfortable in a way, and why, you know, this is self-induced too, you know, this is
right. It always is.
You know, and I'm going, what the hell am I doing?
We're all doing our best.
Yeah, exactly. But one of the things that I really realized and I'm embracing is that one of the things I've never done, which I'm going to do here, I've never ever done this, is relinquish control of many things. And for instance, I never ever, when I'm directing or something, I always, you know, direct, and I'm hands-on. And now, because I am the subject, I'm directing in preparation, but that day I have to let go and have to trust that a team is going to do. I won't even be able to look over their shoulder. I won't even be able to look at the results until later. I have to trust the team to do what they're going to do. And that's like the first for me, because I'm always like hands-on. The other thing is,
I love it.
The other thing is the stuff that comes out of my camera, like I was saying earlier, I'm really protective of it. I'm protective as to how it looks, and I tweak it, and I only select what I like. And because to me, that's the image I want. It's like, I want you to see what I, you know, and I don't even shoot, you know, I shoot in a way where what comes out of the camera is not ready. It's just, I'm just shooting to get that information and the data that then I will result in what I really, what my vision is, but it doesn't come out of the camera ready to go. And so now, one of the things I'm committed is that the people on the ground, the guests, will see my stuff as it comes out of my camera before I even see it, because I'm going to be shooting, and I'm going to be busy shooting again. And now I want to have somebody there. I'm still looking for that person, by the way, a Lightroom specialist that would handle my images and go, oh, this is a cool one, and do a little tweaking per my instructions, and then put it out. And then people go like, oh, cool. Not only they can see themselves if they were jumping with me, but other people can see what this creation that I'm doing as it's happening. And that is like a no-no for me. So part of it is I need to grow up, and I need to grow into this person by that date, and then engage in that. And that is one of the things that's not only a challenge, but it's really exciting. It's literally confronting myself with these sort of things and go like, are you ready to give up that, and at least for this one time, and then embrace others and other people that are coming to celebrate you, and have them see you in your raw state. And it's funny, I would say raw because that's the format we shoot the pictures in raw format. And so they want to see you in your raw state, and whatever triumph or whatever happens or whatever doesn't happen, I need to be ready to embrace that. And I'm committed to embrace it to be a success, no matter what the result is on this.
It's
so
huge.
That's, you know, that's the project. So
there's so much awesome, like there's so much embedded in that. I see just from just that, it's so gutsy and courageous to actually relinquish control. It's also so inspiring to see you actually believing something this big and beautiful and can be created, even though it's definitely not something you can do alone. You know what I mean? Like, that's so gutsy too. Like, it's courage, like so cool that you're like embracing possibility and really trusting and stepping into this unknown space. Like, that's really, really cool. And it's also totally entirely driven by your core values and your biggest, purest passions. Like, I love it. Whether people care or give a shit about free fall photography or not doesn't even matter. Right. It's those underlying concepts that are inspiring. And my hope with this, and why I love it and why I'm excited and happy to support you, is that stuff, if people can take that and extract the insight for themselves to overlay on their own lives and their own values and their own decision making, that is such a contribution. And I just love that.
Yes, so. And you know, it's that is the purpose of this project, is I'm committed that others will take something out of it, whether they were there or not, in the sharing of the project. And if they're there in person, that they can see that and experience that for themselves, and that they can see that this is why I'm doing it. And it's not just you know, just, oh, I'm just going to do it for no reason. It's really a challenge, and it's something I want to contribute, just like I do with my any part of my photography. And then I started thinking about how, isn't that what we do every time we step out that door? We surrender, we relinquish control, and we do have to be in control in some other realm, but it is a trust. It is a leaving a world behind and worries about what could happen for a period of time, 60 seconds or whatever, and then engage in this new life, which is that long, and just go for this magical ride. And it doesn't happen if you don't relinquish that control and if you don't surrender. And that is a great thing for life in general. So if I can just have that be the message of my project, I would be so happy.
Yeah, I know. I love it. It's so clear to me that it's a contribution. You know, that's why it's just so inspiring to me. But anyway, I'm going to cut us off there because
Okay.
we could, again, go
We can go
forever. And
forever.
I love that. It's like so beautiful. Now, a part of me, I'm just going to ask it. Like, I was like, oh, should we just stop there? I don't know. Like reading I don't even, it doesn't really matter
Just
how long
give
this
it to me.
yeah, as long as it's valuable. But a part of me always wants to kind of take it back to young jumpers.
Okay.
And like so this is totally like digressing from our previous parts of this talk, but like if you had a couple of tips or one key tip, or what would you say to young jumpers who are looking to or aspire to be a camera flyer or a videographer or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, I think I always regress to one answer on that, which is it's not about cameras or any technical advice. It's really more about finding something that drives you the way anything can drive a person, like the way this drives me. I hope you can see that the love and passion that I have for what I do and for others and so on. And when you are in that state, anything is possible, and people are align themselves for you, and you can accomplish anything. So a lot of times, you know, like when people ask me, okay, well, what, you know, like the shortcuts, like, okay, tell me in this email how to be great like you, and because I'm like, are you serious? You don't even want to call me and talk about it. You just want me to answer this email and tell you. And you go,
wait, tell me how to be great like you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want the short version. Okay. It's like, I'm like, dude.
Oh my God, maybe Norman, maybe that's my next interview series is I don't ask anything else. I just say, okay.
Just tell me how to do
it. Great. All right, tell us how to be great like you.
Exactly. and so then one of the things that I do, like for instance, when they ask me, what lens do you use? Like, I use all of them. You know, it's like, what am I trying to portray? What am I trying to say? And that is the tool I use. You know, it's like, it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. It's not one answer.
Right.
And then part of that answer is how I engage in my flying and in my photography and all of that. For instance, I am a horrible flyer or student when I'm flying, because I'm really not. When you put me in the wind tunnel, I'm awful. When you put me to other people, it's scary and it's very intimidating. And I'll tell you, I'll share about that, what I'm learning on that too.
That's hysterical.
But the thing that for me is like the photography and all those things. You learn the knowledge. Okay, so my direct advice is learn as much as you can on the mechanics of it, the technical side of it, understand it through courses. This is not even skydiving photography. This is
photography stuff. Got it.
And then don't make photography a way to make you happy. Make it a tool. You know, so for instance, for me, it's more about okay, I'm going to go and create this. Then the photography just becomes an instrument rather than I'm going to be a photographer. That's not the end. The end is not photography. The photography is just a vehicle. So think about what you're going to do with it and what you have passion for with it. And that is, the photography just becomes the vehicle, and that makes it easier to learn. When you're not saying, oh, I got to learn photography. So for me, I got to learn to fly. It's like, no, it's not about flying. It's like, why do I need to fly? It's like, because otherwise I can't get there. And the funny thing about me being awful in the tunnel and all this stuff is that when I'm shooting, somehow I'm there and I get exactly where I want to go, and I'm really awesome. But it's you know, when I'm not doing that, so my end goal is I want to capture this. I want to meet this moment of the future. I want to meet it now, wherever it's going to happen. And I go there and I just surrender that my body will take me there. That's why I created a project called Willing to Fly. Are you willing to fly? Are you willing to allow yourself that you already know everything? You just got to be willing. You just got to surrender. And that is the best way to the best photography is to take that, and not take the photography as the end, but the middle, the journey, the vehicle for it.
Very cool.
And that's my message to that. And then I want to tell you a really funny story, because like I say, I suck in the tunnel. And so my worst thing is that when I go to the tunnel, sometimes I go to the tunnel and then I know I suck. And I'm also all about looking good. I'm all about looking good, you know.
Like I have to look good.
Yes, I just got to look good. And so it's, I'm very vain that way.
Oh,
so
no.
then I go to the
At
tunnel.
least you own it. Consciousness.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, otherwise you got to dance with it. So then I go into the tunnel, and then all of a sudden somebody goes, "Oh my God, there's Norman." And then, well, who's Norman or whatever. And then somebody pulls out a logbook or something. And oh yeah, what are you doing? Well, I'm here training. Oh, we can't wait to see you. And I'm like, oh. Now, like,
performance
I really
anxiety.
don't want to train now. You know, I really I do the worst when people are looking at me and all that. And I know I'm terrible in there. And I just wish everybody would like to close the tunnel and open it just for me. You know, it's like,
no one's allowed to come
I
here.
can't afford that. You know, and so then what I've had to do, and it's actually part of my share that I do. I'm sponsored by Paraclete XP, and one of my commitments to them is that this is what I share. That part of my training includes to train to be okay with not looking great.
Yeah.
To go in there and go, you know what, I'm going to suck at it, and people are going to scratch their heads and go, that's Norman. Yep. And really, it's my photography that at the end people will remember and judge, and not what I did in the tunnel, hopefully.
Yeah.
But really, I have to be courageous and go in there, and no matter who's looking at me, and flop like that. And then that's part of my training. It's not just flying. It's, can you surpass that and not allow that to stop you? Because otherwise you're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
You're not going to fly. And that is part of the message. You know? Yeah,
no, 100%. And again, that applies across the board in performance. Certainly in skydiving, in the sport of skydiving, actually, this is interesting, like, not to bring up, but like I just did a live call on the VSC, which is the part of the stuff that we do there. But like, we were talking about that. We were talking about someone having an issue with frustration and trying to learn head down and stuff like that, and just really not being able to get it, and being so frustrated and getting so upset that they were in tears and the whole thing, which is obviously sucky. Like, that's not awesome. I don't wish that experience. Like, no one wants our friends to be feeling like that. And it brings it back to like, not actually sort of, it parallels everything that you just said about sort of not having it be the outcome as the source of your happiness, sort of detaching from the outcome, and also detaching from what it looks like in order to get there. Is that, like, the irony is that if we can care less, like if we can really be like, I am so cool if I look totally fucking stupid, because I probably am gonna. You know how many times I rolled up the windows learning how to fly head down, trying to exit out of an otter? A lot. Yeah. I looked super uncool for a while, you know? And so anyway, I just love that, because it's not just that that's a great thing to think. That actually serves people to learn more efficiently when they're trying to learn skills, because in releasing that fear and anxiety of looking good or whatever, that our body and our muscles actually then relax to the point where we can actually feel and be with the wind, which sounds kind of fluffy and frou-frou, but it's very, very real. I've seen it enough in my coaching to be able to. Yes.
And also think about it. Okay. Why do you want to fly? Isn't it because you want to feel awesome?
Yeah.
So then if you're feeling like crap because you're flying, then what are you doing? So in reality, if you go like, oh, I'm going to be doing this cool thing, and that's the outcome, then the learning is just a part of it, and you just need to embrace it, you know. But I think this is really very much everything we've been talking about the whole interview, which is really the courage to do those kind of things. And who I am is the possibility of love, courage, and creativity.
Yeah.
And the courage part is precisely that. It's not the courage to jump or the courage, you know, I'm talking about the courage of feeling fear and doing it anyway. And doing that. And it's scary. I'm talking about it like it's nothing.
Yeah.
And believe me, one of the reasons I love these kind of things, because we get to touch on these things, and I get to listen to it too. I get to touch on it too. It's
super
good. Inspiration for myself. It's not just, so it's really great to touch the subject.
Yeah. The only other thing I'm going to add, and because I think this is important to add, otherwise I could easily end us there. But the one thing I'll add is that it's important also for people who are feeling the attachment to the outcome and feeling the worries about performance, that it's not just be like, just start having fun again. That's not really, that's so much easier said than done. I think I want people to hear, at least from me, that that is really normal. Why? Because we love skydiving. We love this thing that we do. And so, of course, attachment would start to come in. Of course, fear and desire to keep up with our friends and their progression and their learning would come in. You know, so like it is really understandable that you would be feeling those things and that would be happening. We've all really been there. And then once you sort of accept yourself that it's okay to have those feelings, then we can talk about being like, okay, I do just want to go back to having fun. And I actually do believe that that's going to serve my process and my ability to learn more quickly. So I like to validate those feelings first, because otherwise people are just stuck in them, feeling kind of bad that they're having them in the first place, when that's really not the case. You know?
Right. You're just adding more to it, because you're now making yourself wrong for having a hard time. And
totally.
That's like,
feelings are not failure, period. But anyway,
it's easy to say too, but you know, that's why it's great
to say. It's super hard. Yeah. But is there anything else, my dear, that you would want to add to this interview that we didn't touch on? Otherwise, gosh, thank you so much. This is awesome.
No, I'm pretty complete. I mean, there's so many other subjects we can touch on, and maybe we can open up some other day.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate the opportunity to do this, and I really hope that people will kind of follow along with us in this project. Not only
I'll share
the progress of it, but also come and join us in Oceanside, California on November 12th. And if not, try to be there in spirit and check what the results of all that is. And I'm just happy to be able to contribute in some way.
Beautiful. Yay. Thank you.
All right, you bet.